My name is MUMIA Abu-JAMAL. I'm on death row in Pennsylvania. I'm ex-president of the Association of Black Journalists in Philadelphia. I'm still a continuing revolutionary journalist. I write for anybody who wants me to write for them. And I'm fighting my conviction, fighting the sentence, fighting for my life, and fighting to create revolution in America. Yes, I am a political prisoner.
From death row, this is MUMIA Abu-JAMAL.
It was the eruption of the civil rights movement against Jim Crow segregation that shattered the McCarthyite Cold War climate of the 50s. The whole world watched as peaceful demonstrations demanding the right to vote were attacked by the police and the Ku Klux Klan. The civil rights movement challenged racist white America and gave rise to a generation of young radicals. But it did not lead to black freedom.
Revolution means change. It means total change.
When the movement came north in the mid-60s, it collided head-on with economic and social reality. The hellish conditions of ghetto life, the mass chronic unemployment, racist police brutality. These could only be solved through social revolution.
Very recently, the Census Bureau said something like 31 million people were in poverty. Other records say that there's 3.1 million people who are homeless in America. You've got people who do not have the basic needs fulfilled. They can't eat, they can't have shelter, they can't have clothing.
In Chicago in 1966, the struggle for racial equality meant a confrontation with the political machine of Democratic Party Mayor Richard Daley. After being stoned in the racist white enclave of Marquette Park, Martin Luther King called off a planned march for nearby Cicero. When 200 demonstrators from the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC, went ahead with the Cicero March, they were met by a howling, brick-throwing mob. The civil rights movement was stopped in its tracks. It was during this time that MUMIA Abu-JAMAL came of political age. In 1967, as a young high school student, Jamal, then known as Wes Cook, was already a fighter.
As a youth in the 60s, I was impressed by the Black Power movement that was sweeping Black America and the Black world in Africa and the Caribbean.
He was one of the leaders of a mass movement to rename Benjamin Franklin High School for Malcolm X, part of a citywide battle for black studies in the public high schools, which culminated in a protest at the school board headquarters on November 17, 1967. The Philadelphia police attacked the student protest. The police were led by Police Commissioner Frank Rizzo.
So I remember me and a brother named Eddie Jones and a few other brothers, about 4 or 5 brothers from North Philly, went to a demonstration in South Philadelphia. It's at the Philadelphia Spectrum, which is a big sporting arena. This was 1968, and it was the presidential nomination of George Corley Wallace III. I think that's his name. But he was running for president on the American Independent Party. In retrospect, it's kind of crazy to think that we would go down to a demonstration in South Philadelphia, which is like predominantly white, and protest against George Wallace coming to Philadelphia. But at that time, you know, we believed that it was our city as well. So we did it, and every one of us got our asses kicked by plainclothes policemen. You probably heard the tale, I beat you so bad your own mama won't know you. Well, it has a particular relevance to me because as I was laying in the hospital, charged with assault and aggravated assault and beating of a police officer, my own mother walked by me, looked me dead in the eyes, and kept walking because she couldn't recognize me. I was beaten unrecognizable. I was in my mid-teens at that time. From that period and from those experiences, from me having to go through the hell of that and seeing the complete lack of power of people to resist that, I was attracted to the Black Panther Party. You know? So because there was not a functioning, active Black Panther Party at that time, we founded one and built one in Philadelphia. I was beaten into the Black Panther Party.
The Black Panther Party represented the best of a generation of militant black youth. They rejected the turn-the-other-cheek pacifism of Martin Luther King and stood for armed self-defense.
I believe that it's a natural right and principle of life for all people to defend themselves. I believe that years ago when I was a Panther. I believe it when I got exposed to the MOVE organization. I believe it now. Self-defense is a natural right, you know, and no one can take that away from you.
There was a national campaign to destroy the Black Panthers by infiltration, arrest, and murder, designed and carried out by the White House and J. Edgar Hoover's FBI. This program killed 38 Panthers. The FBI mandate was to disrupt and destroy the Black Panther Party, including by fabricating evidence and perjured testimony. From May 1967 to December 1969, the Panthers were hit with 768 arrests and almost $5 million in bail bonds.
The COINTELPRO program was a terroristic program. Its function was to terrorize radicals, revolutionaries, opponents of government programs, and to stigmatize and isolate them from the general population.
In September 1969, the police raided the party headquarters at 19th and Columbia. They would have shot us then, Jamal said, except for the community presence. The office was ransacked, files taken, mimeograph machine gone. On December 4, 1969, Chicago Panther leaders Fred Hampton and Mark Clark were murdered by the Chicago police under the direction of the FBI. A week later, in Philadelphia's Church of the Advocate, Jamal was the first speaker at a 1,000-strong memorial for their slain comrades. He said, "The only thing on Hampton's bed was blood and a book by Lenin. He was murdered. We're trying to tell people that there is no need for any more Fred Hamptons or Bobby Huttons."
In all the years that I was a Panther and before I became a Panther, make no mistake, the government tried very viciously to wipe out the Black Panther Party. The point is, they tried to kill Panthers. They shot, they sent in grenades, they bombed, they did all that stuff.
A month after the murder of Hampton and Clark, in January 1970, at the height of COINTELPRO, the Philadelphia Panthers were featured in a front-page Philadelphia Inquirer article. Their spokesman was 16-year-old Jamal, Minister of Information of the branch. Explaining their free breakfast program, Jamal said, "The Black Panther Party is doing what the churches are supposed to do." He continued, saying, "Genocide is coming to the forefront under Nixon, Agnew, and Mitchell regime. And that's exactly what it is. The Panther Party is an uncompromising party. It faces reality." That summer, 1970, Jamal joined the staff of the Panther National Office in California and wrote for the party's newspaper, the Black Panther.
My career as a journalist began with the Black Panther newspaper in Philadelphia and on the Black Panther newspaper in California. There is where I learned how to write, learned how to write from a revolutionary perspective, perhaps.